2021 is the British Chamber of Commerce Thailand's 75th anniversary. I'm Greg Watkins, Executive Director. To mark our anniversary, we're reaching out and reconnecting with some of the people who made the Chamber what it is today. And today I'm delighted to introduce Caroline Stockmann. Caroline joined the board in 2005 and was Vice-Chair in 2006, during which time she was CFO and CIO of Unilever Thailand. So a warm welcome, Caroline. Tell us a little bit about your time on the BCCT board.
Well, I really enjoyed my time. I had some great colleagues. So we had a great chair at the time as well, as you will remember, and lots of interesting events that well, I remember at one point we had a lunch with His Royal Highness Prince Andrew. Another time we had the famous auction where I managed to get myself into Stephen Leather's books, a book, and then he continued to use me as a character in further books. So those were some of the fun kind of moments. But more importantly, really, it was the relationships with the others, the learning, the sharing. Lots of different people from different business backgrounds, and that kind of relationship, British Thai, which has always been a strong relationship, keeping that going. Also mixing with some of the other chambers that we had lots in common with. I remember those times as well, though it is quite a long time ago.
What's your most enduring memory of your time on the board?
I think it's probably the enduring memory would be that lunch or dinner, was it, with Prince Andrew, and Kun Michai was there. It was dinner, that's right. And at lunchtime, there had been the conversation around the lady who had, shall we say, snipped off a part of her husband's anatomy and thrown it to the ducks. That was the story. And Prince Andrew was absolutely fascinated with this. So of an evening, he was kind of really wanting to know more about that particular situation. And I remember, that, but also him talking quite seriously about having to, what he could and couldn't say in front of a large audience. And I know they were being very careful, making sure he only drank water that evening. So that was quite an interesting, memorable occasion, particularly with Kun Michai being there, because Kun Michai is such a great character.
Oh, absolutely. How has Thailand changed since you were working here?
So it's probably difficult for me to say as a kind of outsider now. Last time I was in Thailand was in 2019, just before we stopped traveling due to the pandemic, of course. One of the things that stood out to me was it was a lot more expensive than in my day. But a lot of things the things that I remembered about Thailand were, still held true. The warmth of the people, the smiles, they say land of smiles, but yes, that easygoing, happy, and very supportive kind of environment in a way. We met with some of my old colleagues from Unilever. My children and husband were with me, and I don't know if you remember, my son was adopted in Thailand as a baby, and he's now a strapping 16-year-old. Wow. And it was great for them to meet my old colleagues, but also my old colleagues, and indeed my assistant Arani, she's godmother to my son. So for them to get together again, that was really nice. But the people were as friendly, as welcoming as ever, as caring, spoiling us, and of course, the massages. I just love to have my massages when I'm in Thailand. You just don't get the same in other parts of the world.
No, sure. I mean, I looked through your CV and you've had a fantastically varied career since you left Thailand. Tell us what you did and more importantly, what you're doing now.
Yes, so I, after Thailand, moved to Switzerland, worked for Novartis. And then after that, I really had a change of heart, wanted to work in the not-for-profit world. And maybe some of that was also nudged on by the work I did with Kun Michai Viravaidya when I was still with Unilever in Thailand, but did some work with him looking at the marketing of his cabbage and condoms restaurants and shops, and also looking at working with him some of his training programs for other charities, looking at how they could make proposals to corporates, kind of giving them the insider knowledge. So probably sparked off then. I moved fully into the not-for-profit world, and I worked for South Bank Centre, a large arts centre in the UK. Then moved on to Save the Children International. We set up a new organisation that merged all the Save the Children's around the world, and that was a really wonderful time. And then I worked for the British Council. So again, maybe some influence from my time with you in Thailand, working for an organisation that is trying to engender good cultural relations between Britain and elsewhere. So that was a really enjoyable time too. And now I'm Chief Executive of the ACT, which is also not-for-profit. It's the Association of Corporate Treasurers. And we provide education from fundamentals up to master's level for people who want to be treasurers or want to know how to manage money, basically. Very important. And we've seen that role increasingly gaining visibility through COVID, as liquidity is kind of the name of the game. But we do that. We hold events, we give support in all kinds of different ways. So I find that a very fulfilling role. And it's been a challenge, of course, through the pandemic. But being the chief executive is a role that I really have been enjoying.
Fantastic. I mean, how do you see Thailand's role in the post-COVID world?
Thailand has so much to offer in so many ways. I guess I would say its role is to be itself, because the beauty, if you like, of the people, that's such an important thing. And I remember my time in Thailand, also with visiting guests, people saying the thing that really stood out to them was the teamwork. And I think Thailand can show other countries how it is to work in a team, to think of other people. I remember, of course, I was in Thailand during the tsunami, and that was clearly an example I'd give of that was P&G was a competitor of Unilever, but the P&G's MD, she'd gone missing during the tsunami, and Unilever was larger, had outposts across the whole country, and everyone was engaged looking to see if they could help to find her, and to support all their colleagues, people who might be normally speaking competition, but at that point were no longer. Also, the way that the Farangs were put first, the visitors were put first almost during that time, was hugely impressive, and it just showed a people that a teamwork like no other country I know. And I just think that the politeness, the respectfulness, those qualities that Thai people naturally have, I think that is what they can offer to the world. As well, of course, I remember Unilever had a fantastic IT department, so technology, the skills of the people, I'd say that is what Thailand has to offer to the rest of the world. As well as that positivity. I did change during my time in Thailand. I developed, and I would say that was a key part of my time in moving towards a more positive person, a glass half full person rather than half empty, if that makes any sense.
Oh no, it does, absolutely, and that I'm exactly the same, and it's certainly serving me well over the last 18 months, a positive outlook. Our last question today, Caroline, what's your favourite place and your favourite thing to do in Thailand?
Well, I've mentioned about massages, so that is something I really do like to do. But favourite place, I should have been better prepared for this because there's so many favourite places. I think one thing that just struck me though when I thought about that question before this was it's just on the outskirts of Bangkok. Is it Muang Thai, the village that has all the Thai houses in miniature, including the palace and so on? I used to love that because you could almost see all of Thailand in one. But then I could also have wonderful memories, for instance, Sukhothai, and the beauty of history there. But other memories would be sometimes just being at peace by the sea somewhere. I remember the last time we visited, we were in Cape Panwa on Phuket. That's tucked away a little bit, and that was absolutely beautiful as ever. But just so many lovely places to go to. I won't know almost what to name first.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Caroline, thanks for your time today. I know you're extremely busy, and when you do come back to Thailand, please come and say hello to us.
I would love to do that.
Okay, have a great day.
You too. Thank you very much.